So hello everyone and welcome to Cult Classic Neo, the gaming channel for the refined gentleman. Today we're going to be jumping back into Star Citizen version 2.5 and exploring a little bit about what makes up good Star citizenship. Now before we get into anything too... What the hell? I do not like the sound of that. What the... Oh my god, that son of a bitch just blew up my ship and... My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, I think that guy has a freelancer, so I think it's time we exact a little bit of revenge. So why don't you guys join me on our Star Citizen quest today, and let's see what this game has to offer. So it doesn't look like he sees me just yet, so I'm going to see if I can sneak up on him without giving away my position. Now, there was some recently released 3.0 footage, and this isn't going to be quite up to that level because this is only 2.5, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's dive right in. So, what's new in the Star Citizen universe these days? Well, I gotta say, it's not a whole lot. They have a few tweaks here and there, and they've tried to improve stability, but unfortunately the stability's not quite perfect yet, and the game also just crashed. So, we're gonna try this again, and get back to this landing pad, which brings me to the next point. They've improved this landing system a little bit, and now it's less of a point and click to select a landing pad. Now you just kind of fly up to it, and that's how you request landing. Now, that might not be a permanent feature, but they've also incorporated this sort of automated landing process, as well as allowing people to do it manually, so they can probably serve a larger client base that way. Because the game is on PC, it can take advantage of a full keyboard mapping, and basically every button will do something. So it is important to get yourself familiar with the controls of the game so you don't put yourself at a disadvantage, and I wouldn't really suggest using a controller for this game. There's going to be too much stuff for you to do. One of the interesting aspects about Star Citizen is not only can you spend a whole ton of money buying in through the software, such as that freelancer we saw for about $110, is you could probably also spend upwards of $400 or $500 getting yourself a really sweet, joystick and throttle setup for this if you really want to fly these ships with a little bit of finesse. So again, this is a game that people can definitely spend a lot of money buying into. And I guess being at an early alpha stage, this is something that's totally unconventional to the way games are normally developed. Now, I was fortunate enough to get a free entry pack into Star Citizen when I got my graphics card. It was just one of the free games I selected to come with it. And it's been alright so far, and I thought the ship I had was pretty sweet. It's a Mustang Omega, I think, that just has a whole ton of AMD Radeon R9 branding all over it, but since seeing some of these regular non-branded ships available, it's not looking so great. So I have been tempted to maybe buy one of these larger ships, but I'm also really interested in just earning it through the universe once the full game gets released. And when that might happen is really anybody's guess, and I suppose I'm a little concerned that this is one of these games that could remain in a sort of beta testing phase almost indefinitely because it's constantly being evolved and updated. Now, if this is a game that you're following, you've probably already seen the release of some of the 3.0 footage that Chris Roberts did, where he was flying the freelancer while following the elevator, like everything is moving in real time. Like, this game is really serious, and I'm kind of curious as to how long they're really going to take with it. And I suppose if you really wanted to kill some time, you could go exploring 18 quintillion worlds elsewhere. And you know what, it is kind of the elephant in the room, and I think I do need to touch on No Man's Sky briefly, because this is a game that both B and I were both really excited to see come out, even back when Grav was being released, sort of an early exploration of this, space survival concept. And I know we also took a look at Empyrean Galactic Survival, which has done a lot of this on a sort of Minecraft graphic scale. But yeah, that whole 18 quintillion worlds thing was always kind of a red flag, I think, because it does kind of beg the question of how much detail could really be put into any one of these planets that, well, from what I've read in these other reviews, that basically just seem to change color. And I think Star Citizen has taken a much more appropriate approach. Instead of just slamming this whole quantity idea, they're going for very specifically artistically detailed rendered planets that are massive, and you could spend hours and hours and hours just exploring one of these things, and it has a little bit more meaning to it if it looks like someone was there, there's some story behind it, and Star Citizen is obviously going to be putting a great deal more detail than what we might otherwise be able to achieve right now with algorithms alone. Now, Star Citizen does use procedurally generated algorithms for things like, topography of a planet, like, put some mountains over there, put a lake over there, like, a lot of that stuff can make sense, but if it's going to be stuff like you're seeing right here, these living, breathing worlds that you can really feel that you're a part of, that's just going to make a little bit more sense than maybe grass that has some spots on it. And speaking of different things making sense for different worlds, you may be wondering what Gamerpsych is doing over here on cult classic Neo. Well, we're going to take it in a different direction and try something a little bit new. An experiment, perhaps, to see if we can create something interesting and compelling for an older gaming audience. I mean, let's be honest, we're not kids anymore, and we don't have the ability to sit around and play games for 8 hours a day. Frankly, the circulation in my legs just would not be able to handle it. And of course, the other responsibilities life throws our way definitely prevents us from wasting time with crappy gaming experiences. So this means we need to be selective about the games that we choose to play. I think one of the best parts of that selection process is the justifications we use for why it is that we enjoy certain games, because the conversations that can be sparked around that can be highly engaging and thought-provoking. On the other hand, we also have to be realistic about what it is that the YouTube audience wants to see, and many people that come to these kind of channels are really just coming for pure entertainment, which is totally fine. However, going down the path of a YouTube entertainer does come with certain pitfalls. You may end up actually finding all the success you seek, and then one day find yourself waking up on a bed with PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye with an electroshock device hooked up to your ballsack in front of a camera for the entertainment of the masses. And sometimes staring down the barrel of inevitability like that has a way of giving one pause. Now, it seems to me that a really effective way of avoiding that kind of a fate would be to not try to reach an audience that's entertained by those kind of antics. Now, these videos are probably going to be kept fairly short because I know that you guys have limited time to watch YouTube videos, so I don't want to waste your time with any kind of nonsense or hijinks. The humor will most likely be very dry, and I'll do my best to keep it clean. I'm also going to do my best to try to keep the psych stuff to a minimum for the rest of the season, because I think it's going to be important to stay focused on the games. I think this separation of the worlds will be the best way to deliver the highest quality content to the audience, and I know it may be a bit of a leap into the unknown here, but we will be charging ahead nevertheless. Now, your feedback is always going to be important, and right now you are part of a very small audience, so I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. I've also just realized I have about 2 minutes to go, and I didn't actually even touch on the topic I wanted to today, which was star citizenship. Now, this is something that I wanted to briefly mention. The guys over at RSI have developed a rather clever system of, I guess, monitoring people's behavior. The idea is if you're one of these griefer dicks that blows up people's ships when they're, I guess, trying to fix something like a comm array, you begin to accumulate these wanted points. And after you've achieved the highest level of level 5, all the players on the server get a bonus if they take you out. So, from what I've experienced, a lot of the players on the server are pretty cool people. The one guy who was trying to land a ship and couldn't figure out the controls had people in the chat sort of trying to explain to him how to land his ship, and I thought that was pretty amusing. And there was a time when I was on this station here, and I got into one of these sort of like showdowns with another player. Was it like, alright, who's gonna fire that first shot? And neither one of us did, and we just sort of went on our separate ways, and it was, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. So it may be the case that people are just well-behaved because there's so much other stuff to do. Now, if you get labeled as one of these criminal types, you'll actually spawn at an entirely new space station and actually lose the ability to use your warp drive to go back to the Crusader port. And just by making that one small change, they're actually able to put a, well, rather large distance between players that want to blow up ships and players that want to just, I don't know, explore the galaxy or something. So anyway, guys, thank you for taking the time to tune into this episode of Gamerpsych, and we hope to see you back here soon on Cult Classic Neo.